lost. Everybody,
No,
welcome to the TD Report.
Wait a minute. Let's get it straight. I haven't missed a Super Bowl since Super Bowl 50, since Cam Newton and them sold me out with Ron Rivera. So I think that's probably why I don't like Ron Rivera.
This is why he doesn't like Ron Rivera, right?
Yeah, I listen, dude. You can call them other games. Jody and Deb was right about Mahomes. When we get on this show tonight, it's live.
We're live,
folks. Let me tell you something. I went to the doctor today, and the doctor told me I have sugar diabetes for drinking all that Kool-Aid on the AFC teams and the quarterbacks and this and that and Josh Allen and oh my goodness and all of them look good. And I fell for the banana in the tailpipe. And I was arguing with them. No, man, and Mahomes can't do that because you know Tyreek Hill. And blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Guess what? I was wrong. What you saw last night.
And we lose Tony.
That's what you saw last night was greatness.
Let me ask the question to the panel, Tony. I'm going to ask this to everybody. I'm going to start down below on Jody. Is this a situation where we have Pat Mahomes and then there's everybody else? Jody, go.
It's been like that. It's been, I mean, Burrow second best, but he's very low. It's like if I'm gonna put Mahomes at a 10, I got Mahomes, I got Joe Burrow at a 7, and everybody else. It's a big gap at the quarterback position, especially when Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, is the best quarterback in the NFC. He's a top 5 quarterback. It's Patrick Mahomes and everybody else, and it had nothing to do with last night. I felt this way. I felt this way long before that, and I argue with people consistently. You know, when Tyreek Hill left, Pat Mahomes gonna struggle. And I remember me and Dev came collectively together and say they were going to have a better season. Why? Because he's going to go to that 3rd and 4th read. Because when you have with him, it used to only be 2 reads and run or 2 reads and heave. He's like, okay, if Kelsey's not open in the middle, I'm gonna heave it to Tyreek Hill because he's down there somewhere. And that's what cost him the playoff game last year against Cincinnati when he could have just threw the ball away, punted, and let the defense get on the field. But what he do? He threw an interception, forcing the ball to Tyreek Hill, and that gave Cincinnati a short field to kick the field goal to ultimately win the game. With Tyreek Hill not in the lineup, sometimes those guys, you got to realize Kansas City did not have a receiver, not tight end, a receiver that had over 1,000 yards receiving. They didn't have a running back that had over 850 yards for the season. So that tells me that he makes people better. Not to mention Tony was a guy that nobody wanted in New York, even though he was a first-round draft pick. Nobody wanted Valdez-Scantling. Evidently, Green Bay could have used him. And nobody wanted Juju Smith-Schuster because he only got a 1-year deal, and he was dancing his way out of Pittsburgh. So he made all these guys better. Sky Moore was really on nobody's draft list, and he was on Kansas City draft list, and he came up big last night. So it's Patrick Mahomes and everybody else.
What do you think, Devin? You agree?
It's been that way since 20. For me, it's been that way since he first took the snaps. I go back to his very first game against the rookie.
We can't hear you, Dev. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Not sure. Let me see.
Can you hear me?
Keep coming.
Can you hear me?
Maybe get a little close. Can you get a little closer to your phone? Yeah, there you go.
Can you hear me now?
No, we're gonna go to Tony. We're gonna get Cody to work on you. Okay.
Okay.
TK, what do you think? Is it Mahomes and everybody else?
Yes, Mahomes and everybody else.
So basically, he's Michael Jordan. He's the NFL's Michael Jordan.
Can you good, Dev?
Can y'all hear me?
It's a little better.
Louder. You look like it sounds like you further back. You might have to go off your Bluetooth and go straight in.
Yeah, you might have to go off the Bluetooth.
Nope. Your Bluetooth is messing up.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Perfect.
Is it Pat Mahomes and everybody else in the NFL at quarterback?
Yeah, it's been that way since he first got snaps in 2018. First game ever. Still is Pittsburgh. 6 touchdown passes against a Steelers defense that was coming into that season ranked in the top 7, I believe. He lit them up. And I said that day, I said, well, this guy does things Alex Smith could never do. He throws the ball down the field. He can run. He can throw the intermediate. And like Jody said, the only issue was it was easy because I always had Kelsey to control the middle and the underneath, and I had Tyreek with all the speed. Without Tyreek, now I got to be more of a quarterback because I don't have that one weapon that I can throw it to like I did against the Bills last year for 3 or 4 yards, and he turns it into a 65-yard touchdown with defenders that have angles and can't get there. So now I got to be more accurate. I got to be more precision. I got to be more of a surgeon. I got to take what the defense is giving me. I got to use my legs a little more than I probably used to. Even though I'm using them, I use them a little more when I have to. And it's just a maturation process. And the best thing about him is the toughness. Nobody talks about how tough that guy is. I mean, this guy's a Big 12 quarterback, the only Big 12 quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl, the only black quarterback to win multiple Super Bowls, the only Kansas City Chiefs quarterback to win multiple Super Bowls. He literally ascended into the best black quarterback we've ever seen last night. You get 2 rings, 2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowls. I mean, look at the numbers, look at the stats, and just look at everything. He's the first guy in history to lead the league in touchdowns, yards. It was four things he led him in this year where it's never been done. 1 the Super Bowl and 1 MVP in the same year. No one has ever done all 4.
I don't think even a guy like, and you're talking about league MVP.
Yes, league and Super Bowl. Yeah,
you're not talking.
He had all 5 in 1 year. And he did it in a year where, as Tony stated, the whole world said he's going to take a step back because they traded away Tyreek. And I remember the day that it happened. Keenan Allen comes out and says, somebody's about to get exposed. Glad he's out the division. And I tweeted at Keenan Allen this morning about that. I tweeted him that tweet back to him and said, what you got to say now? He haven't responded. He probably won't. But you can't say things like that when you haven't beaten this dude. You got to, the dude is the best in the world, man. And like Jody said, he's a 10. And to me, the next closest thing is Allen and Burrow at 6.5, 7. It's just that much difference. He's just that much better. It just is.
Now, as we talk about coaches, great coaches and quarterback combinations, you only have one coach that didn't have the same quarterback for his Super Bowls, and that's Joe Gibbs.
Yep.
You got Joe Gibbs, who had 3 different quarterbacks and 3 different starting running backs to win 3 Super Bowls. Okay. But now here you have Andy Reid with Pat Mahomes. You've got Bill Belichick with Tom Brady. You've got, Walsh with Montana, and then Seifert with Young.
Now, Seifert had 2 different quarterbacks. He had Joe Montana and Steve Young when he won his championships. He had 2 different ones.
He had 2 different ones. Okay.
Yes, he did.
But you could make the argument that
Seifert won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, Seifert got 2.
He got 2.
Seifert has 2.
He got it in 89. He got it in 94.
Yeah,
he got the 94 one.
And Walsh only got 3 then.
He only got 3.
Walsh
He only
got
got
3.
3.
All right. Okay.
Now, you look at what Walsh did. And actually, I heard today, I was, clicking back and forth, and I don't mean to diss the competition, but ESPN has PAs, production assistants, that are guys like us when we were in college that know statistics, that can look this stuff up. Okay. All right. They had a guy on ESPN today. I don't even want to give his name, but they had a guy on ESPN today that said that now that Andy Reid has ascended to the top 3 coach all time in NFL history. Okay, with his 2 Super Bowls. I want to give him his credit. 2 Super Bowls is great. But if Bill Walsh is above Andy Reid with 3 Super Bowls, Joe Gibbs has to be above him with his 3. I see what Andy Reid has done in this era of the expensive quarterback and usually finding that right guy and getting him to stay and all of that stuff and getting what you can get out of him. Andy Reid could coach another 5 to 6 years and probably win another 2 or 3 Super Bowls. I just don't see any reason why he would stop now. What do you think about that? Hey, TK, you want to jump on that?
What would you ask?
Well, basically what I'm talking about, I'm long-winded question. I apologize. How many more Super Bowls can they win with this combination at coach and quarterback? How many more Super Bowls can Andy Reid win?
As long as Andy Reid is there and they're working backwards. When I say working backwards, they know their number for their quarterback. So everything is working backwards. And so folks understand that's the first time during this little modern era of paying quarterbacks, that was the first quarterback with a big contract that won the championship. That was a homegrown. The last 2 years, you had somebody that was exported. You had your Stafford, you had your Brady. That was the first time. I think that with them, let me make this point so you understand. Chicago Bears is picking 1. Houston Texans is picking 2.
Thanks to Lovie
Both
Smith.
teams, Houston Texans, Chicago Bears had the number 1 snaps for rookies. Houston Texans had the number 2 snap for rookies. The number 3 snap for rookies was Kansas City Chiefs. So if you're looking at it that way, they're the youngest team, the youngest playing team, and they won the Super Bowl. So that's a thing. I was just talking to a Buffalo Bills fan. That window is closed. They pay Von Miller. Edmonds is up for a contract. They don't have a running game. What are they going to do? Andy Reid and them are in the catbird seat. And who else is in the catbird seat is Jody and them with the Cleveland Browns because they don't pay people. Now we're about to see if this window is 1, 2, or 3 years. A lot of stuff with Cleveland is going to hinge on Baltimore. So a lot of stuff that's going around, the big thing is paying the quarterback. If you haven't paid your quarterback, and I think last night's game, the people in the NFC East should be happy because guess what? Jalen Hurts is about to break this bank. He's about to get top 3 money, and he deserves it.
Every penny.
He deserves every penny. And ain't going to be no hometown thing because, like he said, ain't nobody have an opinion on me when I was just working hard. Everybody got opinions.
This is tailor-made for Jody to jump in. You said last week that the Philadelphia Eagles did not believe in Jalen Hurts.
And they don't. But can I go back to the question? I'm going to get to that. Can I go back to the Andy Reid question?
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. Everybody listen. Andy Reid was a lame duck coach until Pat Mahomes became quarterback. He was ousted in Philadelphia because he couldn't get it done. He couldn't get it done with Alex Smith. Alex Smith had a season where he had 4,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. He had Kareem Hunt, who had a career year of 1,300 yards, not to mention he had over 400 yards receiving. He had Kelsey, who had 1,000 yards on 83 catches. He had Tyreek Hill, who had 75 catches, over 1,000 yards. So he had everything. He could not get it done until the season he got Patrick Mahomes. So all this credit we giving to Andy Reid, I think he's a decent coach. He doesn't draft Pat Mahomes. He's on ESPN analyzing games just like Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan about to get another job.
Listen, I understand that we want to give his credit to Andy Reid. Not to mention, not only did he have to get Patrick Mahomes, but he had to get Eric Bieniemy because guess who his offensive coordinator was before that? It was Doug Peterson and it was Matt Nagy. Couldn't get it done. Couldn't get it done in Philly. Couldn't get it done in Philly. Couldn't get it done his first few years in Kansas City where they had tons of talent. I don't want to hear the defense wasn't good because a year prior to that, they had Tamba Ali. They had Derek Johnson. They had Poe up the middle. All these guys were Pro Bowlers. All these guys was Pro Bowlers on Kansas City. Kansas City has never been without Pro Bowlers on both sides of the ball. Make no mistake of that. So the talent was there. The thing that made Andy Reid now all of a sudden his all-time best coach is Patrick Mahomes. That's the common denominator. So I'm sick of people. I'm not saying Andy Reid's not a good play caller. Then if that's the case, then go be an offensive coordinator. All this stuff, he could not get it done. Now all of a sudden he's a genius after how many years? Now I'm gonna look like a genius if I got Pat Mahomes at quarterback. I'm gonna look like a genius if I had Pat Mahomes. And I understand they like, well, he found him. That's cool. But he was a lame duck coach, and he probably wouldn't even be Kansas City's coach if he did not employ Eric Bieniemy as offensive coordinator and getting Pat Mahomes. Now I know nobody want to say that, but I said it. Now going back to the Philadelphia situation. No, I do not believe that they believed in him prior to this season. Because if that was the case, you pay AJ Brown before you paid him. You pay AJ Brown the first day he set foot in Philadelphia. Matter of fact, he didn't even get to Philadelphia yet. He already had $25 million. And you could have signed Jalen Hurts because he's in his rookie deal. You could at least start negotiations. Now, you know what? Jalen Hurts needs to be a top 3 quarterback. He needs to get paid more than Deshaun Watson. Yeah, I said it. He needs to get paid more than Russell Wilson. I said it because he's proved it wasn't his fault that they didn't win last night. I mean, wasn't his fault. So my thing is, but the beauty with Philly is just like Kansas City. Guess what? They got 2 first-round picks, and they're going to address their pass rush because they did not sack Mahomes one time. They're going to address that. They're going to address some of their defensive back issues because Bradbury, they need that third guy. They needed that nickel guy that they didn't have. So mark my word, they're going to address both of those positions in the draft and probably in the first round. But Jalen Hurts will be a top 3 quarterback, and they don't pay him as such. I think he should walk.
What do you think about that, Devin? I'll get your take on that last before I go back to Tony. Go ahead.
What was the original question?
How many more Super Bowls for Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes?
If Andy Reid coaches 5 more years, they'll win 2 or 3.
Okay.
You take Mahomes and they have 12 picks in this coming draft and they just won a Super Bowl. 12 picks. They have the best offensive line in football. It's not the Eagles. It's the Chiefs. We need to really start looking at that. If you look at what they were so sick of hearing about the lines on the other side, that those 2 lines last night, what they did, the most impressive thing to me was they said, we're going to take the run away and we're going to make Hurts beat us. Now, he almost did it, but that's the way you had to beat the Eagles. If they get to running down your throat, they literally will, then everything else opens up. They shut the running game down outside of a couple of Hurts busted runs.
Hold on, Dad, but you know that Miles Sanders did not play. I don't know what happened to him, but he did not play.
He got the shit knocked out of him. That's why he didn't play.
Yeah.
He got the shit knocked out of him because
he played I saw him on the first series.
Nick Bolton almost killed him on a screen pass. Almost killed him. He got killed a couple times, but at the end of the day, Miles Sanders is a good back, but the Chiefs beat them up inside. They did not move the Chiefs like they move everybody else. They did not have that. The only time they really had runs that were really talked about were Hurts breaking contain on where Frank Clark and them got out of contain and he got outside or went down the middle. But overall, they did not run the ball well, and that's what they do. And I think the Chiefs said, you know what? This is what they do. Spagnuolo said we're going to lock that down, and we're going to live with our corners and safeties on the outside. If they get beat, it won't be enough where he can beat us. We can absorb that. We can't absorb them running the ball down our throat all night. So for me, Andy Reid is a top 5 coach, maybe all time when he's done. I think he's the best play caller of the last 20 years because I think what he's able to do with his ability to change with the times. Like, he had a West Coast offense when he came in that sort of went outdated. He upgraded that, added some new wrinkles to it. He gets Mahomes and he bases his offense off of a college offense, but still has pro principles. So that's what I like about him. And, the Eric Bieniemys, Matt Nagy's, Doug Peterson, they all get a little credit because they were all part of what he's been able to build. But overall, he's a top 5 guy when he's done, more than likely. I mean, he's gonna get another Super Bowl or 2. I just think with 15, you have a shot every year. 15 gives you a shot every year. It just does.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The way that Pat Mahomes played last night, I couldn't walk away anything but impressed, and mainly with the toughness.
Yeah, man.
His last time out on the track, the Tampa Bay Super Bowl, he was getting beaten up. They were getting after him. He spent most of that night on the run, but not last night.
But you know what? Even that night, though, Dave, he made some throws that most people ain't gonna make. They dropped 5 or 6 balls right in their hands when he got out of contain, throwing from perpendicular, almost on the ground, still making throws. And I'm looking like, this is insane. Getting his head beat in, and he's still fighting.
Let me talk to y'all about that and explain why he makes those throws. The reason why Pat Mahomes can make throws sideways like that, go watch Derek Jeter come across second base trying to jump over a guy coming in to slide and take him out.
Yeah.
He's throwing sideways. That is a baseball play. You can't play baseball in the infield, whether you're a shortstop, a second baseman. You can't, if you can't make that play, that flip, you cannot play infield in any type of baseball
Can
at
we
any
say
level.
something about the biggest winners last night?
Talk about it.
Out of anybody that won last night, and they should each have their own Super Bowl trophy, where the offensive line actually for both teams, but the offensive line for KC with that rush that Philly had, that offensive line, they made money for future offensive linemen, because what you think they said for 2 weeks? They probably said, guys, this team is third all-time in sacks. They get to the quarterback. If you guys protect our quarterback who's hurt, we have a chance to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happened. If those O-line do not protect Mahomes, that game is a runaway. It's not even the same game.
Well,
So,
Zook said for the AFC Championship game, they asked him about Mahomes' injury, and he said it's not a bad thing because now it makes us, as the five guys that's got to keep him upright, it makes us focus just a little more. And when he said that, I said, wow, that's a weird. But he said, you watch. And went out against the Bengals. He got sacked twice. They were both his fault. He held the football too long. Last night, he didn't get touched. He got out of a couple of plays where he probably held it too long. He was able to get out. But overall, he had plenty of time. That offensive line from tackle to tackle, no one talked about it. And I said it a few weeks ago. I said, to me, they were the best O-line in football because I like their pass blocking and their run blocking when you put it all together. Thought the
Orlando Brown Jr. is about to get paid.
But no
Orlando Brown Jr. is about to get paid.
Yeah, Creed Humphrey is they say Jason Kelce is the best center in the league. I think it's Creed Humphrey for the Chiefs. I just think when you look at what that kid has done since he's been in the league, first year he wins the Super Bowl. Second year, he's in the Super Bowl. No, first year he's in the Super Bowl, they lose it. They go to the AFC Championship last year, and then this year they're in the Super Bowl again.
They win it. Yep.
So the anchor of that offensive line is 25 years old, y'all. He's 25. Woo. Comes from Oklahoma.
The starting
Jalen Hurts center at Oklahoma.
Yep.
This is I agree with everything y'all saying, but this is the propaganda that we have to hone back in and understand. Maybe numbers do lie. Philadelphia having a pass rush, when you get 9 sacks against the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that ain't really that great.
Yeah, 8 against the Commanders in week 1.
That's you see what I'm saying. So
they sacked Wentz 8 times in the first half.
Right. So when you got guys and you like, man, these guys really rush the passer. Let's look at it against quality opponents. Let's look at it against. That's how I determine. I'm a type of person that I love being around people that ain't scared and ain't talk trash and they back it up against any competition. I don't like the guys that go beat up on the small, the 30
on the weaklings.
Yeah. And then when it comes to the big boys, you quiet as a church mouse. I'm gonna talk regardless. I'm gonna say what I gotta say regardless, whether you the big dog or you small. I ain't scared of nothing. And that's what I like about the Kansas City's offensive line. They wasn't scared of nothing. Philadelphia, all those guys, Sweat. I didn't even hear his name really called. You heard more about Fletcher Cox with what he had on before the game than you did at the game.
Yeah.
What does that do? All right, hold on. Time out.
That was a blouse, man.
Was he going to church?
He had a blouse under there. But you know, it's funny you say that.
Is it Easter already? Is it Easter Sunday already?
It's funny that you say that because if you go and look at their schedule, they didn't breathe on Jared Goff much.
Right.
They didn't get to either Cowboy quarterback in either game.
Which is scary.
And they didn't get to Patrick Mahomes. Those offensive lines in them 3 places are damn good. You don't just beat up on their quarterbacks.
Right.
And they struggle with Washington the second time, who is a solid line, not great, but Washington said we're gonna run it down your throat, and they didn't get the hand to keep it one time the second time.
That's right.
Really beat up on bad. They sacked Justin Fields 7 times. Justin Fields is just back there running for his damn life. You know what I'm saying? Just running for his life. You know, come on, man. Come on.
All night.
They had a lot of guys that looked like they should have retired, like the Brandon Grahams and the Joe. They're serviceable third down guys. If they got to give you more than that at this stage of their careers, they're not going to have a lot of success against better teams. They're just not.
And they're going to draft. They have to draft it. They're going to have to draft it.
And that's the issue we have because we got all these guys that on paper they look really good. And I'm not saying Philly defense is not good because they did play against Kansas City, and Kansas City makes pretty much everybody's defense look bad. I don't know. Remember what Kansas City did to the 49ers? It made the 49ers look extremely pedestrian. You like, wow, that's and then the 49ers dominated. Hassan Reddick was nowhere to be found. It was a lot of guys that had some ABBs out there. And the only time you heard about Bradbury is on the holding call that he actually did. I'm so sick of these fans. If anybody gonna think something is script, it should be the Cleveland Browns because we ain't won a damn thing. All these teams that done won something, it's like all of a sudden the NFL is script when your team doesn't win. All of a sudden the referees are not making calls. And I'm not saying the referees.
But the guy himself said he penalized the guy. I'm like,
he knew it.
What else do we got to do? He said, I grabbed him. He grabbed him twice, but he did it earlier on a third down, and they didn't call it right in the middle of the field. And I said, you know what? If he gets away with that again, it's going to be at a big moment. And if he don't, it's going to cost them the game because he's been doing it all night.
But Dad, not
him on that option route all night long, and he was holding all night, and they finally called.
No, he was holding on
all night long, all damn night. And like Jody said, him and Slay were beneficiaries of the ball coming out. They just jumped. The ball's coming out. The ball didn't come out last night. They had to cover a little longer, and they got
right.
And Valdez-Scantling didn't have a catch. Kadarius Toney only had the 1 5-yard catch, and they still couldn't cover these guys.
Toney had a touchdown, though, right?
Him and Sky Moore, Toney both had touchdowns on their catches. 5 yards.
But you know what? It's like we talk about this stuff, and y'all, it's always it's scripted. Even if they did not make that call, it was still third down.
Yeah,
that was a second down play. Not to mention, it was still third down. And not to mention, they still would have kicked the field goal to go up. So what are we talking about here? That did not cost you the game. That wasn't like the Rams game.
Knowing Andy Reid, he would have probably come back with the same look on the other side of the field in the same, probably the same damn play.
Like he did on the plays I described in the thing. Like he did. He said, you know what? Okay. We had a tackle eligible, and y'all picked up that. We're gonna go to the other side now and see if you're willing. And
exactly
got Avonte Maddox overthinking. I got a saying in football that I tell my players: motion causes emotion. If you can move motion, you're gonna get people to do things they don't want to do because now you don't know how to pass guys off. And in high school, if they can't do it in the pros, you know you can get away with it in high school. Make people have to pass off. You better believe that Andy Reid stuff is going in my playbook tomorrow.
Well,
that's going right in my playbook. I'm going right with that motion right there because it is a way to get people unorganized.
You could see it on the pass off that Slay made. You could see Slay on the replay turn his back.
Yep.
And his guy was right here.
But the same thing this way. On the 3rd and 35 that the Cowboys completed on them. Slay thought he had help and passed off, and he wasn't there. You don't think Andy Reid and Bieniemy looked at all that film and said they got mistakes?
So,
they made mistakes back there.
Hey, Dev.
Good point, Devin. I didn't think about that play. I forgot about
that.
Yep.
Everything that you just said is the reason he grabbed him because he was fooled again.
He was beat.
But Tony, not to mention
he was beaten on the pivot. He was beaten on the in route.
The difference is on the pivot normally during the season, the quarterback's on his ass. See,
correct.
He wasn't on his ass last night because that guy was standing upright. See, usually when you go to pivot, there is no ball coming out because he's down.
But let's take it a little step further. Dev, you made mention of this. When they got Gardner Johnson, he's not that good on double moves. He's not that good in help.
He's too aggressive.
He had 6 interceptions because once again they got a lot of pass. He can play the nickel and he can play the safety. But last night the Philadelphia Eagles safeties got exposed like they've been really getting exposed all season. The safeties, they got great corners, but they don't have that nickel guy and they don't have those safeties, and they got exposed at critical times in the game because
Lamb ate their asses up in between the numbers and them two.
Can I? Wait a minute. We're gonna go back to this show on Thursday night when I told you guys the last good quarterback they played was on Christmas Eve against Dak Prescott. And I said Dak Prescott exposed those dudes on the back end. And I said, if Dak could do it, then a quarterback that's 10 times better than Dak is going to do it. And it happened exactly the way we said. So folks, let's get it on this thing right here. Everybody on Fox picked Philly.
Yep.
They did.
Every last one of them picked Philly.
Yep.
Every last one of us picked KC except for Dave. And Dave only picked Philly because he picked them in August.
Right.
He know damn well in his heart Philly wasn't going to beat KC.
I had to stay. And listen, picking Philly in August looked really good up until, I don't know, the fourth quarter.
It looked really good. It looked really good until the first drive of the second half when Tony called me and said, if the Chiefs score right here, watch the pressure that the Eagles feel. And if the Eagles don't go back and get a field goal, doesn't help you beating KC when they get one. You got to go get one right back.
It was on our text thing.
Right back.
I said it felt like they were down 3 touchdowns. I said, but they're not.
Yep.
But this,
the interesting thing. I'm sorry. Let me get this in, Jody, real quick. I'm sorry. What I thought was a backbreaker to that game was a couple of Mahomes scrambles. Now, obviously, in the first half, he goes down with the ankle, and when that ankle got hit, everybody's Super Bowl party at the chip dip, everybody stopped. Oh shit, he's hurt. Not because he came off looking. That ankle didn't look good.
Grimacing, bad. He was grimacing, man.
It hurt.
Yeah.
But he got those 2 runs in against heavy pressure and leaked out. And I said to myself, those are backbreakers. Go ahead, Jody.
My thing is when you got Pat Mahomes and you look over at the score, are you ever scared that they not gonna win?
No.
It's like
no.
You're not beating them by 100. I feel like they still got a chance to win. I don't care if it's still time on that clock and Pat Mahomes on that field. It's like, man, are we really gonna beat this team? And I haven't felt like that about a quarterback. In my opinion,
Brady?
No, I'm gonna go Brett Favre. Every time Brett Favre was on the field, regardless if he threw an interception at the end, but I felt like you can win, and they didn't have a lot of great teams towards the end.
Like Rodgers, somebody
not
like
Rodgers.
That
I still feel like you don't lose with Rodgers. Only time I think Rodgers gonna win is he playing the Bears. If he playing anybody else, I think he's gonna lose.
Why do the Bears get to hit? Why are the Bears taking strays? They catching strays.
He their daddy. So
yeah, he is.
I hear you. I would say.
Yeah, just like Ben Roethlisberger was Cleveland's daddy.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
But Cleveland got him in the last big one though in that playoff game. They finally got him.
Sometimes when your daddy get old, you get a good hit in.
You might get one. Seeing Mahomes make that last scramble down to the inside the 20, as a backbreaking play, I'm reminded of some things that Michael Jordan did. Where it looks like he can't get this thing done, and he makes that one play that breaks the other team's back. And it's not necessarily the game-winning shot. It's a couple of shots before that where we had these guys, we had them down, and Mike brought them back, or something that a guy like a Derek Jeter might do. Just these guys that make these great plays. But he did it with his legs at the end there with that was that a 15, 20-yard scamper? And it looked like if his ankle was good, I thought he was going to try to go.
I did too. I thought he was going to try to score.
I thought he was going to try to get it in there. Yeah.
I looked at his performance last night more, of course, Mike, but I looked at it as Kobe Game 7 against Boston, where he had to beat them for his legacy, and he couldn't make a shot. Mahomes really wasn't throwing the ball all over the place. He was good. But he did every little thing that you needed him to do. He got runs. He made the right checks. He got the ball to the right guy. It was a play that I don't know if you guys saw. The Juju Smith play, 2 Juju Smith-Schuster plays that went for first downs. It was one where they went to run the quick one to Sky Moore, but the sweat jumped off sides, and Andy Reid came right back and faked it there and threw it to him. That was a play that got changed at the line. If you look at Mahomes when he came to the line, he looked over at Andy Reid and he nodded. And when he nodded, he tapped Creed Humphrey on the butt. That's telling Creed Humphrey, hey, we're going quick game, but we're not going quick game here. To Sky Moore, we're going quick game in between the corner and safety and catch them looking. The other one is when he came to the huddle, he broke the huddle, and he looked at Kelsey, and he saw 2 guys looking at him. Kelsey pointed to Juju right away and said, he'll be open. And Mahomes nodded like, okay. And if you look at the play, during the play, Mahomes is still trying to find Kelsey because that's his first read. Kelsey pointed to Juju, who's behind him. He catches it and goes down the sideline for 16 yards. You can't teach that shit. That's football. That's knowing your guy better than the other guy. That's called film study. That's called attention to detail. And that's the stuff that wins championships. That's what made Bill Belichick and Tom Brady so great. The attention to detail.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that field. Saw at least one play where Mahomes had a receiver lined up on a cut and Kelsey fell down. He slipped.
Yep.
And he still completed the pass to the next deeper receiver.
Yes.
It was beautiful.
Yes.
Everybody was where they were supposed to be in the scheme, and all Pat Mahomes has to do is deliver the football.
Yep.
Dave, you know what, man? I think that when we talk about Pat Mahomes, he reminds me so much of Steph Curry. He reminds me so much because Steph Curry is the silent assassin. You like he ain't gonna. You know, when you go to the basketball court, you're like, man, dude ain't gonna kill us on the court, and that man hit you for 40, he's still smiling at you. He's so reminiscent of him because Mahomes will beat you and then compliment you. Like, you hear what he said about Jalen Hurts? He said, Jalen Hurts, it wasn't his fault. You're not hearing that from like an Aaron Rodgers. You're not hearing that from other quarterbacks. They really like, yeah, we won the game. He didn't do enough to beat me. You see him giving praise in a loss, and it's like, he's so reminiscent, and the Golden State Warriors and the Kansas City Chiefs are kind of like they're like mirroring each other in these sports right now.
Like it used to be the Patriots and Spurs. We have the Chiefs.
It's funny you said that. Dev and I had that conversation.
Yep.
Dev said he'd stay up to 1:30 in the morning just to watch Golden State.
Yeah, you don't go to sleep.
Gonna miss something.
You say you're gonna miss 10 threes by Curry or 10 threes by Thompson or 50 assists by them because they pass the ball like they it's just. You don't want to miss it because you see on SportsCenter, damn, they scored 140 points, they hit 25 threes. I went to sleep last night. You know, you don't want to go to sleep. You have to see it.
And Dave, you know what's crazy about that? We see KD going over to Phoenix, we seeing Kyrie going to Dallas, and I still think Golden State gonna win it.
I still, even though they struggling and haven't really gotten going, when the playoffs come, you still got to take them out 4 times in 2 weeks until you prove that you can do that. I'm with you. I'm not betting against them. I'm just not. Until somebody does it when they're fully healthy, I don't believe they're going to lose either. If they do, I'll chalk it up and say, hey, you know what? They weren't supposed to win it last year, and they did. It is what it is.
You can't say that
Good old Rudy T said it the best.
Never underestimate the heart of a champion.
Let me tell you something. We're going to get to the point where Andy Reid is going to say, hey, I'm hanging it up. And then everybody is going to say, we're going to win this one. This is going to be the Chiefs. We're going to win this one for Andy.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Yep. They rallied behind, Devin, you brought up a great point. The offensive line basically said, hey, this is our show. We got to protect our guy, right? Yep. And all of the work that Kansas City's front office did this year, actually the last 4 or 5 years, they're starting a safety, Juan Thornhill. They're starting him at safety. He was supposed to start the Super Bowl as a rookie, blew his knee out, didn't start the Super Bowl. Rehabbed, played in the game against Tampa that they lost, and now he's back. He gets his second Super Bowl ring, 3 years in the league.
That's crazy.
Okay, so you look at the fact that you can say, hey, we drafted Pat Mahomes. They drafted 2 drafts behind that and got their starting safety out of it, who should have had 2 picks. He dropped 1. So you look at what you're getting out of guys that I always say NFL rookie money will play for food. That's literally what it is.
They only have one whole secondary that's making first round money. That's McDuffie. Everyone else is making low round money. Their whole linebacking core is making 3rd and 4th. Them guys, I told y'all about Bolton and Gay when the season started. I said,
yes, you did.
And they're more physical and they're athletic. And now you're looking at Frank Clark has 14 sacks, 3rd all time in the postseason. When are we going to talk about it? The guy's a dog, man.
He is.
The Eagles had 3 guys blocking him almost the whole night last night. He was still getting in the backfield,
he was still on there. You
get the guy Noddy and the guy Saunders who chased Jalen Hurts for the only sack of the game because he got him out of bounds behind the line. They had Karlaftis in the backfield wreaking havoc. They were the dominant line last night on both sides. They were the better lines.
Karlaftis, who people, not on our show, people were like, why'd they draft him? We were like, man, you better go on and get with that. That dude is solid.
You better look at Ryan Kerrigan's film and look at him. That's Ryan Kerrigan Jr.
That's exactly what he is.
Athletic Ryan Kerrigan.
And let me tell you this. Me and Tony, when we did the football classics, we were doing it on a peanut butter and jelly budget. Okay. What Kansas City is doing, they're doing it on Hamburger Helper. Okay. That's little. No, I'm serious, Tony. Daddy gets a steak. Mm-hmm. That's Patrick Mahomes. Everyone else is getting hot dogs.
But you know what's amazing
That's
about
what everyone
all
else
this?
is getting.
The amazingness about all this, Hartman did not play in that game.
Nope, he hasn't.
Nope.
What Clyde Edwards-Helaire did not play in that game, which I thought he was going. He didn't play in that game.
He might as well get on the first boat out of KC.
He in trouble.
Took that job. He
Hey, look,
first boat out of KC, man.
He gets a nice parting gifts.
Yeah.
You get 2 Super Bowl rings and a trip out of town.
Yep.
I want to know what, and I don't know the stats on this, but I want to see an NFL team that was able to win a Super Bowl and not have a guy rush for over 900 yards and not have a receiver over 1,000. I really want to see that.
I don't think that's never happened.
I don't think it's ever happened.
I think Pacheco had like 850 and some change in 13.
Yeah, so he
touched the pay dirt 13 times for.
Yeah, but I'm saying far
they said was too small, and I know he was good because he beat out one of my former players. They came to Fleet Davis from Maryland, and it was him for the last 2 running back spots. And they told Fleet and him, we're gonna put Fleet on practice squad. He make active roster. Fleet called, and I said, Fleet, I love you, but that's the right choice. I love you, but he is right for what they need. He is a better choice than what you can give them right now. They have a lot of you. Mm-hmm. They don't have any of what he can do right now. That's the difference.
But it's the thing is, they added a game to the season, and they still didn't have a running back over 1,000. They still didn't have a receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to know if it's a stat out there that I can really see. Now I know everybody like, well, they had Kelsey.
Hey,
okay,
Jody, get with me after the show. I'll get a production assistant on that. By the way, my son said he'll be our production assistant. He's going to look up stats for us. Okay. So this Joker stays up until 1 a.m. anyway. So we might as well put this Negro to work. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I'll put it down. He'll go on NFL.com. He'll look on NFLstats.com and cross-reference it so that we don't make mistakes. But yeah, we'll have him do that for you guys tonight. He's a baseball kid, so he's big on statistics.
That's dope.
I'm thinking the closest team might have been one of them Patriots teams, maybe.
Yes, that I will agree. But they would always have. They almost always had receivers that would get that 1,000 yards. Yep. They always had an Amendola or Wes
Walker.
They had Branch, so Branch probably hit a G every year, but they probably didn't have no running back because they had
Antoine Smith.
They had Corey Dillon. Corey Dillon had 1,000 yards that last year.
No, I'm talking about Antoine. What about Antoine Smith?
Antoine Smith, something like that.
Yeah, I think Antoine Smith, and they had to do Redmond.
I'm glad that y'all brought that up. I'm glad y'all brought up the Patriots. The Patriots are a modern precursor to what the Chiefs are doing as far as having that quarterback making that premium salary. And then everybody else coming up has to get in line at the trough behind that. And where they were moving guys out of their system before they had to pay them big money. So if you were a guy like Adelius Thomas that came in as free agency, once your free agent time was up, they weren't going to re-up you. They got what they wanted out of you, and they moved you out of their system. Yep. But in that time, they drafted in behind.
It's called good management.
Yes, called good management.
The management paradigm has shifted in the NFL. It really has.
Spurs did the same thing with Tim Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker doing their run.
Exactly.
Okay, we like you. You got your ring. Okay, we're gonna go get the rookie and we're gonna groom him for 82 games, and he'll be ready to step up come playoff time. We're not paying you that money. We're not doing it. But the key, like Tony made a good point. The Chiefs GM deserves all the credit because he said when he did that contract, he's the only GM in the league that said, I'm going to set this number the way I want to set it every year. He only is able to do that because his quarterback isn't pressed for every dollar because he's got so many other things he gets money from. Same thing with Brady. He gets money from everywhere else. So the football money is not a big deal. I'm going to get that. But I don't have to have it all up front because I want to win. So every year, the Chiefs set Mahomes' salary for what it is. If it's 25, if it's 30, whatever, it never's going to hurt the salary cap because he allows them that flexibility because he isn't gung-ho on getting 45 every year. It doesn't matter to him.
What's his number next year, Devin? 46?
27. 27.
Oh.
27 million.
What's up, Jody?
This is my thing, and I'm glad. I'm glad y'all brought this up. Damn, I'm glad you brought because I'm gonna slander this guy for this, and it's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers don't do that. Aaron Rodgers wants $50 million every year, and then he complains about the team not being good. He complains about having all these rookies at wide receiver. This needs
he should look in the mirror. He should look. Jody, he needs to look in the mirror.
Yes, Dave, this needs to be said. I'm tired of everybody tiptoeing around Aaron Rodgers' ass. I'm tired of that. I'm not tiptoeing around nothing. Hey, if you see this, Aaron Rodgers, come on the show because this is ridiculous. You've been crying for the last 4 seasons.
Jody, you gotta be quiet. Aaron Rodgers is meditating.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers,
y'all know he's going real quick. I mean, he's going to a retreat with no lights for 2 weeks. It's going to be complete darkness for 2 weeks. He's going to that. He said that on the Pat McAfee show the other day. And
what
Brett
the
Favre
hell?
is suing, and you know Brett Favre is suing Pat McAfee and Shannon Sharp. I don't know if y'all know that.
Yeah,
he's suing both of them now.
Yeah, he's suing. Yeah, Brett Favre is suing them.
Man, y'all can't make this. Y'all can't
Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers. Let me tell you something, man. You're not Peyton Manning. You're not Tom Brady. You're a phenomenal athlete, but the stuff you pulling is the reason why Green Bay. When Aaron Rodgers step away from Green Bay, they're gonna be in so much disarray when he leaves. He's not giving them an opportunity to even set up for the future because he's so selfish that he's not. Look, Aaron Rodgers is not a leader, man. I don't care what
scorched earth. It's a scorched earth theory. But listen, I've said it before. I will say it again. You either live to be a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Yeah. And he has long since crossed over that, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. He has literally become everything he hated about Brett Favre. He has become that.
And worse. He's worse.
He hated Brett Favre. And guess what? Brett Favre didn't like it when Rodgers got drafted. Didn't like it at all.
No, he didn't.
He hated it.
And the same thing happened to him. Jordan Love, and he was mad. Same thing happened to him with Jordan Love. And I saw the other day that Aaron Jones said, we love Aaron, but if Aaron moves on, we gonna have to pick up the pieces and just support Jordan Love. We can't sit here and have him hold us hostage every offseason like this. It's too much. He said we just need to focus in on what's here, and we're gonna play football. He said we have a good roster. And you get that 50 million off the book, that roster will improve dramatically.
Can I say this? There's no team in NFL history, and this includes the Niners, that has had 30-plus years of Hall of Fame quarterback play, and they got 2 championships to show.
Yeah, been to 3 Super Bowls, 3.
But
1
too far.
4, 3 Super Bowls. That's it.
Let's not mistake. They had really 57 years of it because if you go back to Bart Starr.
Dang.
Yeah. They've had 30 consecutive years.
But they done had 57 total years of Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and you got 4 championships to show.
Man, y'all better leave them people alone, man.
Shout out to Lynn.
I ain't leaving nobody alone, because that's the problem. We leave all these people alone.
Shout out to Lynn Dickey and Don Mikowski.
Oh, no doubt.
Shout out.
Hey, but you know what, Dave?
I like those guys.
When you go look at these other outlets, they let these guys off the hook, man. And I'm not gonna let nobody off the hook, man. And I ain't trying to be the hot take guy. I'm trying to keep it real, because they start painting these pictures as Aaron Rodgers being his hero. Aaron Rodgers lied to the public last year about him having a COVID shot. That man did not get suspended, but Antonio Brown gets suspended for 3 games. Like, this guy has held, not only has he held his own teammates and his coaching staff, he's held the public as giving this guy credit for what he hasn't done. This guy has not won a playoff game in how many years?
No, he won one a couple years ago because they was in the NFC Championship.
They got to the NFC Championship.
Yeah, he got to the NFC Championship 2 years ago.
You'd have made $100 million and you got a couple championships. Okay, that's investment. That's investment well paid for. Okay.
Well, I'll say this about Aaron Rodgers.
I always say that Super Bowl run, it was a blessing because they ended up beating a really overrated Seattle team. And the next week they got the Bears without Jay Cutler, because I forgot who the guy that came in. B.J. Raji intercepted the ball off that damn. Ran it
B.J. Raji.
Fucking B.J. Tackle getting interceptions against guys. Come on, man.
BJ Raji, wasn't that he like 370
Yeah, he
pounds?
intercepted the ball and ran it in. Didn't he, Tony, for the
Was it-
touchdown and start
Wasn't that
dancing?
It was
guy?
a fat man touchdown. There's nothing
wasn't it
more
from-
fun in the NFL than a fat
Man,
man
wasn't the
touchdown.
guy from Purdue? Wasn't the
Yeah,
guy from Purdue?
Not Cal Orton. It wasn't Orton.
Not Orton.
It was that other guy. I don't even know. The guy was so bad.
He was that
Oh.
bad.
He was that bad, and he was playing. He was almost like the Josh Johnson coming in against the Eagles a couple weeks ago. That's how bad it was. That's how bad it. And he got to and Green Bay almost lost that game. They only won 21-17.
Hey man, Josh Johnson did the best he could. All right.
He was
Hey,
bad.
you know what?
Oh, he was bad.
He's literally the fifth string quarterback on that team.
Yeah. True.
I mean,
Let me
he's
say-
the fifth string guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
let me
when
say
your
this.
coach goes over, when your
Go ahead,
coach
Jay.
comes over to the dude that got hurt,
Go ahead, Joe. What are you saying?
Guess who? Hey, Baker Mayfield got as many playoff wins as Aaron Rodgers last 3 years.
One.
oh shit.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad, right?
Pretty bad, man.
Hey, look, I tried to like Baker Mayfield. I was used to be his biggest detractor, and he had that one good season. I went all in, and then he just went back to what he was. I don't know, man.
He is what he's a 50-50 guy, man. He's terrible. He's okay. He's terrible. He's okay. He's never going to be any more
Consistently, yeah.
what he
I
is.
see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I've learned about the all-time greats when you see them play, especially like at a quarterback or something like that, when their game breaks completely down and they look terrible, those guys can get it right back. Like literally, it just takes one throw. All right, I'm back. And then the thing about Pat Mahomes, we'll go back to him again. And I want to also talk a little bit about Jalen Hurts before we get off. Let me do that. Jalen Hurts, for all intents and purposes, played almost a perfect game.
He did.
He had two mistakes.
That fumble.
One of them cost him 7 points.
That fumble, man.
That fumble, that one, and now it happened so early in the contest. You could say, yeah, that's not going to swing the game or anything, but I hate to say it, as closely matched as those teams were, as well as they both played against each other, a mistake like that can prove fatal. And I believe it was. A scoop and score, and then obviously, you know, just leaving plays on the field. A couple of plays here or there, but nothing egregious. That was the big play. I thought Jalen Hurts played great.
As you stated, the biggest thing with football, the biggest thing in a game that can flip it is not a turnover. It's when the defense don't have to have the offense come out because they took it all the way to the house. That is a backbreaker for any team, because you look at the scoreboard. If Philly's driving, he's probably going to get to the edge right there and get the first down to keep the drive going. He's trying to switch hands. He drops the ball. But again, it goes back to my point about the Chiefs getting the older linebackers out of there. Them two young athletic dudes that run 4.5. Bolton standing right there. He picked it up. You weren't catching him. If that's Anthony Hitchens, he probably doesn't run that back. He probably gets caught from last year. He's a little older.
Oh, I guarantee Anthony Hitchens gets caught. I remember him in Dallas.
From Missouri at 240 pounds running a 4.5, and this is Nick Bolton at 235 running a 4.5. That's what Andy Reid said we're going with. They may not understand all the schemes right now that Spagnuolo want, but you can't teach what they bring. Sideline to sideline activity. They hit you and they can cover. And if you look last night, them two linebackers were dynamite. They were so much
some good
better
hitting
than
out there
the
from
Niners,
both
who
sides.
probably have the best linebacker core in the league 2 weeks early. The Niners linebackers looked lost against that RPO. Not them young guys. They looked great. And a lot of it is what I said. They put Chris Jones over Travis Kelce, over Jason Kelce. And if you look, Jason Kelce couldn't get to the second level to get blocks.
Nope.
Which he's been doing all year.
And it freed the
monster.
linebackers up to run. Yep.
Smart.
Hey, guys.
Spagnuolo got the message.
Let's talk about this.
Yep.
As we, transition off the Super Bowl, we got to talk about some of the stuff that was going on off the field. We got to talk about the halftime show. Hey, guys, I loved it. I love the halftime show. I thought that was great. Tony, what'd you think about the halftime show?
I thought the halftime show was excellent.
Phenomenal.
Seeing that the surprise was letting the world know that she was pregnant.
Yeah.
That was her surprise. So all you guys on here who had kids, I don't have any kids. So you guys on here with kids, imagine your woman, your wife is 7 months pregnant. and 1 billion people, 2 billion people, are about to find out something that you told no one. You're about to find out that you guys are about to have a kid. Not only that, they suspended her about 100 feet up in the air,
bruh,
and performing her songs. Dude, you guys have all 3 of you guys have been through that. Now, think about it. Think about where would y'all heads be, and y'all worried about her health and this and that. And I got the nerve to hear people arguing about this woman pregnant, and she suspended 100 feet up in the air.
that was
A
crazy,
billionaire
Tony.
performing for
This world
free.
crazy, man. We living in crazy times, man.
Man,
Well, I was
I'm
wondering,
done.
Tony.
All those people. I had a dude ask me. He had 2 kids. He was like, "Man, is she pregnant? I can't tell." I said, "How the hell you can't tell? You done had 2 kids.
Yeah, she's
You
pregnant.
can't see she pregnant."
Yeah, she's pregnant. She's showing this time more than she showed the first time at this stage.
And that's
So-
crazy. But that's usually the case. They don't show much the first time a lot. They show more after that. My wife, same way. Much more showing after that first one. The first one, you could tell, but you had to almost know that she was.
Man.
After that first one, everything was obvious.
My friend's mom is a nurse, and she said the same thing. She's in her 70s, and she came out and she looked, she's pregnant.
Hey,
the women know.
Hey, Dave, the ending of her performance is actually the only song I know. And I was pissed off doing the show because I know some of those songs, but that Diamond song is the only song I actually know and know the words to it. Yeah. And when she ended with that, suspended up in the air with the fireworks, and in the background, which you guys don't know, they wear your lanyard. They can control your lanyard.
It lights up
from a
based
box.
on where you sit.
And they tell you to wear it, and the way they had it with everything looking like a diamond. You got to be kidding me, man. It ain't, you can't touch it. I was at last year's Super Bowl, and that was great. Now, I love Dre and them, but I would have loved to be at this one because the dancers and everything, the choreographers and all that.
She had great dancers.
It was great, man.
Hey, Jody, rank this one for me, Jody. Was this better than Bruno Mars? Was it better than Michael Jackson? Could it have been better than Prince, Beyonce? I mean, those are your tippy top right there.
My thing is, I'm the wrong person to ask when it comes to really music. And I'm going to say, because I'm really not a big music guy. I'm the type of guy that be in my car and don't listen to anything. So for me to enjoy what just happened, that's a plus, because I'm not a big music guy. I don't do music like that. Like, only time I really listen to music is really when I'm working out. But I'm not going to sit in the house and put some music. And if I do, it's going to be some 80s and 90s music, because that's what I grew up on. So for me to enjoy the halftime show, that's really saying a lot, because normally, I ain't gonna even lie, outside of last year, Prince, I really wasn't. Beyonce was cool. That got to be a top 4 for me, because I actually was like, wait, hold on, this is actually interesting, because normally when that comes on, I normally go do other stuff. And I told you, I'm just not a big music guy, so for me to enjoy it, that really meant a lot.
Hey, Devin, can you put that one in perspective? What did you think compared to Super Bowl shows past? I mean, we've had Beyonce twice. She did one show of her own. That was in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. She did one with Bruno Mars, which was excellent. Bruno Mars has done the show by himself. He's excellent. We all know about Prince. We know about Michael Jackson, literally transfixing the crowd. For how long was he standing there, Tony? 2 minutes? Mm-hmm. Just staring at the crowd, and the crowd was going crazy.
You know what he was staring at?
Yeah.
He couldn't believe the Dallas Cowboys was in the Super Bowl and he was performing. That was America, dog.
Hey,
there it is.
Hey, dog. I'm going to tell you.
Janet Jackson in there.
January 31st.
Janet was amazing.
January 31st, 1993 was when America was made great again. That was the best day when Michael Jackson came to perform and the Dallas Cowboys was in the Super Bowl. I felt like going to eat some apple pie and just grab an American flag, because nothing is more American than them damn Dallas Cowboys.
Oh man.
Ain't
Oh,
nothing
come
more.
on.
So we just had to put the
Ain't
Cowboys on the
nothing
show for some kind
more
of
I
way.
don't know how we did
American.
that. That wasn't what my intent was with that question. But
Oh, my
sometimes,
goodness.
guys, sometimes on this show, I ask a question and it goes in an entirely different direction.
Jesus
But that's what I
Christ
love
right
about
there,
this
dog.
panel. Nope, that's what I love about this panel.
Dog.
I'm the guy that sets the questions up, and you
Woo.
guys just knock them down.
Y'all
We've had
got
a
to
great
understand.
season, guys. Listen, let's talk about this. We've had a great season. Been great working with you guys on this, and now we move into we're going to be talking NCAA basketball a lot. We're going to be talking NFL draft. We're going to be talking NFL offseason.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking hoops. You guys listening, come back to our show next week on Thursday. Later this week on Thursday.
Today. Yeah.
What's that?
Pitchers and catches reported in baseball today.
Oh, yeah,
We're gonna get my friend
reported
Kevin
around
Gibbs on
Valentine's.
here. We're gonna talk some baseball. And just a sad note here locally. Washington Nationals owner Ted Lerner died 94. He's 94 years old. 97, excuse me. Brought baseball back to DC.
Wow.
So his son Mark takes over. Unfortunately, the Nationals franchise is essentially on the block to be sold. The Lerners aren't going anywhere, though, because the Lerners are big real estate moguls here. They own pretty much everything in real estate in the DC market, as far as office buildings, the best mall in the DC area out in Tyson's Corner. The Lerners aren't going to lose any money off of this, but it is sad to hear that Ted died. So with that said, we're going to end tonight's show. Tony, this is your show, buddy. I'm going to give you the last word.
Well, my last word is guys, we all came together to do shows, and we don't agree on much stuff
Ever.
because they all Cowboy haters. But our goal is to turn arguments to articles. Remember that. Arguments to articles. Folks, we're going to start writing. We're going to start doing different things. Y'all need to come up, and the TD report is going to jump up to another level. We're going to show you, because the press sets the narrative. And what we want to do is start setting some of the narratives our way, because we have a voice. Hopefully, our voice can help other youngsters out here get to it. Each one of you guys have young men. Y'all have young sons. So they don't, believe me, your sons may fight you, they may do whatever, but they see what you're doing. They see their dad is out here with their voice and they doing things, and man, we just gonna try to do what we love, and is sports. And I mean, to say goodbye tonight, because the season's over, and dude, we've been doing this. I love it. I mean, I love arguing about is Dak a bum or boom, boom, boom. I mean, I love it. I mean, yeah, you get in your feels a little bit, but that's sports. That's life. And we all need to keep humping, keep being with each other. We're going to come. We're going to do. Hey, we're going to be wrong. But most of the time, we're going to be right. Yeah. So, let's keep this up. Guys, follow us. We're going to try to do what we can. We're going to try to get stuff up, and we're going to try to bring you the best stuff and the honest way of doing it. This is a sad night because the football season's over. And we got to wait all the way until August until we all at the Hall of Fame that kicks off the season again. But, in between that, we got all the rest of these sports. But I just wanted to say one more thing. Make sure everyone is Heart Awareness Month. Please know your numbers. Please know your numbers. Heart disease is the number one killer for 96% of Americans. The number one killer. It's not COVID, it's heart disease. Please know your numbers. I'm celebrating 5 years now. Know your numbers, please.
Absolutely.
Please.
Hey,
and guys, thank you for always tuning in to us. Like I said, we're going to be the Wu-Tang Clan of podcasts, right? And everything else coming together.
Special thanks Special thanks to Jody and Devin for bringing another dimension to the show.
Yes, indeed.
Because
Special thanks to y'all, brothers.
It used
baby.
to just be me arguing with Tony. I need some help.
Yeah, hey, he needs
It's
some
hard
help.
to argue with Tony all day, man. I
Hey,
did that
fellas,
for 2 years.
Hey, fellas, so we can understand. I already put a call in. We're gonna have 2 condos next year in Vegas. So you guys better start putting your plans together now.
Get it.
We're gonna be out there. We're gonna be interviewing. We're gonna be covering. Folks, it's about to be off the chain. We're gonna end this meeting next year. We're gonna be in Vegas.
Well, my son will be away.
Stuff.
My son will be away in college, so I'm definitely down. I ain't got nothing here but a bird.
Can I say something? I know that Tony
Go ahead,
said
Jody.
the last word.
You're good. Go on.
I'm huge on TikTok, and I seen this interview with Joe Budden. If y'all not familiar with Joe Budden, he's a rapper, but now he's like a huge on podcasts. I think y'all may be familiar with him. And he said something that was really interesting to me last night. I was at work, and on the podcast he said, "Hey, I want people that do podcasts to not be successful." He said, "I want them to fail." He said, "I want all these so-called people to fail." He said, "You want to know why I want them to fail? It's because this is hard." He said, "It's hard to get on podcasts and continue to do it and stick with it when you don't have the people following you, don't have the people that want to put money into it." He said it's hard. So he said, every time I see these guys go on podcasts, I want them to fail. And I'm thinking in my head, like, what did he mean? What he meant was what we're doing. I joined this podcast about a year ago. Y'all had already been going a year. And for us to keep grinding, he said, because it only takes one person to really see it to get you to the next level. So basically, in a nutshell, he was coming off, it seemed negative, but I took it as a positive. He said, because all you need is that one person. Keep grinding. He said, because I see so many people, even the people that got a name and a platform, they still can't keep doing it. So he said, I want y'all to fail. But what I took from it is he wants y'all to fail because he know how hard it is and how he had to grind. So we got to keep that mentality and keep grinding.
Right.
Appreciate you guys. Hey, have a great week.
Happy Black History Month, baby. Have a great
Thursday,
week.
big show on Thursday, because it'll be the first show after the Super Bowl, all NFL postseason stuff.
Yes, indeed. Hey, props to Philly.
Y'all. Great show, guys.
Props to KC. Props to Eric B for president, baby.
That's
Eric
right.
the Enemy for president,
Eric the Enemy,
baby.
get that job,
Eric
buddy.
B for president.
Come to DC.
All right, folks.
Wow.
About to get out of here. See you guys.
Brother.
All right, Corey. All right, Dev. See you guys. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of the TD Report. Folks, please go get checked. American is Heart Awareness Month. Please go get checked. All right. Thanks.